Our brother slammed me into the fridge. My nose shattered, blood everywhere. I reached for the phone. Mom yanked it from my hand. "It's just a scratch," she snapped. And Dad? He just muttered, "Drama queen again." They thought I'd cry and move on. They had no idea what I'd do next. My name is Alina. I'm 17 years old, and if you ever hear someone say, "family means everything," I want you to look them in the eye and ask them, even if they break your nose. Because mine did. It happened on a rainy Tuesday, the kind of day where the house smells like wet socks and everyone is angry for no reason. Zane, my older brother, came home from school slamming the door like he always did. He's 19, tall, strong, mean. He used to be my best friend when we were kids. Now, he looks at me like I'm something he wants to crush. I don't even remember what made him snap that day. Maybe I looked at him wrong. Maybe I didn't move out of the way fast enough. Maybe he just felt like it. All I know is, one second I was grabbing juice from the fridge, the next, slam. He shoved me so hard, my back hit the fridge door and bounced off. I hit the floor like a rag doll. I gasped, my body frozen, my mind racing. But he wasn't done. He stood over me, eyes cold. Then, thwack. His knee crashed into my face, right into my nose. I heard it, the crack, like someone stepped on a dry stick in the woods. Then came the blood. So much blood. Warm, sticky, pouring into my mouth, down my chin. I couldn't breathe. "Zane!" I choked, trying to move, trying to say something, but I couldn't even scream. My face was fire. I reached for the kitchen counter. The landline sat there. I needed help. I didn't care who, just someone to stop this. My hand touched the phone, and then Mom's hand yanked it away. She had walked in. She had seen everything. She looked at me, blood on my shirt, tears in my eyes, and she said, "It's just a scratch. Stop being dramatic." Just a scratch? My nose was twisted. I couldn't breathe. I was shaking all over. I looked at my mom, hoping she'd change her mind, hoping she'd see me, just for once. But her eyes were like glass. She turned to Zane, her voice softer now. "Go upstairs. I'll handle her."
Zane didn't even look sorry. He smirked, then walked away like he'd just finished a chore. I stood there, holding my face, blood still dripping into the sink. I turned to my dad. He had been watching the news from the living room. "Dad," I whispered, "please." He didn't even look at me, just muttered under his breath, "Drama queen, always looking for attention." I couldn't believe it. I felt like I was in a dream or a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. That was the moment. Right then, something inside me broke. Not my body, my trust, my hope, my silence. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I wanted to cry, but I stopped. Instead, I went to the bathroom. I stared at my face in the mirror. My nose was bent. My lips were red with blood. My eyes swollen with tears. And I whispered to myself, "Never again." They wanted me to stay quiet, to keep pretending, to play the drama queen they could ignore. But I wasn't going to be quiet. I was going to remember everything, record everything, save everything, because I knew one day I'd make them watch it all burn.
The next morning, I covered my nose with a hoodie. It hurt to breathe. It hurt to talk. But I went to school anyway, because being around strangers felt safer than staying one more minute in that house. No one asked questions. They were used to me being quiet. They were used to the long sleeves, the bruises I got from falling, the headaches I said were from allergies. But my English teacher, Mrs. Green, wasn't blind. She pulled me aside after class. "Elena, your face," she whispered. "Did someone hurt you?" I froze. My heart pounded.
I opened my mouth to lie. Then I closed it again, because I didn't know what to say. The truth felt too big, too heavy. So I did what I always did. I smiled. I fell down the stairs. She didn't believe me. I could see it in her eyes. But she nodded, gently touched my shoulder, and said, "If you ever need to talk, I'm here." I almost tried, because no one ever said that to me before. Not my mom, not my dad, not anyone in my house. That day after school, I walked home slower than usual. I didn't want to go back. I wished the walk would never end. But it did. The moment I stepped inside, I saw Zane's shoes by the stairs. My stomach twisted. He was watching TV. Mom was making dinner. Dad was in his usual spot, arms folded, eyes glued to the news. No one looked at me, like I was invisible. So I walked straight to my room, locked the door, sat on my bed, and for the first time in my life, I opened the camera on my old phone and started recording. Not for TikTok, not for views, just for me, for the truth. I looked into the lens and whispered, "My name is Elena. I'm 17. This is day 1. Then I took off my hoodie. I showed the bruises, the cut on my lip, the swelling around my nose. I didn't cry, not this time. I recorded my voice explaining what happened, what they said, how they laughed. Every day after that, I filmed something. Zane yelling at me, Mom blaming me, Dad rolling his eyes whenever I flinched. I filmed the broken plate that missed my head by inches. I filmed the bruises on my arms. I even left the audio running one night while they screamed about how ungrateful I was. I hid the files in a folder on a secret USB drive. I called it My Truth. I backed it up to a cloud account too, just in case they ever found it and destroyed it, because I knew what they were capable of. One night, I forgot to lock my door. Zane barged in. He didn't hit me that time. He just stared. "What are you always writing in that notebook? You better not be saying stuff about me." I lied. Said it was schoolwork. He didn't believe me, but he walked out. From that day on, I became more careful. I hid my notebook under the floorboard. I set up a second passcode on my phone. And slowly, I started collecting my power back. The bruises didn't stop. The screaming didn't stop. The silence didn't stop. But I had something now. Evidence, truth, a weapon. And I made myself a promise. When I turned 18, I would leave. I would work out of that house and never come back. And when I did, the world would finally hear my side.
I was 17 and 6 months old when I started calling it the folder that could burn a house down. Not literally, of course, but it felt like fire. Dangerous, hidden, waiting. Inside were over 70 videos, audio files, photos, screenshots of texts, notes I'd written about every punch, every slap, every insult. It wasn't just about what they did to me anymore. It was about the fact that they never thought I'd fight back. Zane still acted like he owned the house, slamming doors, throwing things, yelling about everything and nothing. Mom still called me ungrateful for not smiling at dinner. Dad still muttered drama queen whenever I so much as breathed wrong. But they didn't know that while they ignored me, I was building my escape. I started saving money. Not much, just coins, small bills. I babysat for our neighbor 3 doors down and hid the cash in an envelope behind the toilet tank. I looked for shelters, youth programs, anything. I even made a fake email and messaged a trauma counselor online. She told me something I'll never forget. You don't need to be bleeding to be in danger. You're not crazy. You're surviving. That night, I cried for the first time in months. Not because I was broken, but because someone finally believed me. I started writing letters to myself. Little things like, "You're almost there. Hold on. Soon it'll be your turn." My 18th birthday was 42 days away. I counted it down like a prisoner scratching lines into a wall. Then one day, I almost got caught. I was in the living room. Zane had gone upstairs. Mom was cooking. I thought I was alone, so I turned on my phone and started recording audio. Dad walked in halfway through. "What's that noise?" he asked. I froze. My heart nearly stopped. I faked a cough, hit pause, shoved the phone into my pocket. He stared at me for a second too long. I forced a smile. He walked away. That night, I backed up everything again, put another copy on a friend's school laptop, because if they ever found it, that folder would disappear, and so would I. But I didn't stop.
I started dressing neater, standing taller, smiling more, not because I was happy, but because I was getting ready. They thought I was still scared, still broken, still quiet. But inside, I was a storm waiting to hit. And then, the night before my 18th birthday came, I packed everything I owned in silence. Clothes, toothbrush, USB, charger, notebook. I put the envelope of money in my shoe, tied it tight. I sat on my bed, looked around the room one last time. The posters, the cracked mirror, the small lamp I used to cry under. I looked into the camera and pressed record one final time. My name is Elena. I'm 18 tomorrow. If you're watching this, I made it. And when the sun rose the next morning, I walked out. No goodbyes, no letters, no tears. I didn't run. I walked, calm, straight, head held high. Because I wasn't leaving as a victim. I was leaving as a survivor with a plan. And they had no idea that the second I stepped out of that house, their entire life was about to explode. I spent my first night of freedom on a stranger's couch. It was a girl I knew from school, Emma. I had never told her the full truth, but she saw the bruises. She knew enough. When I showed her the folder, she didn't say a word. She just cried, then hugged me so tight I almost forgot how to breathe. The next morning, she looked me in the eye and said, "They don't get to win. You're not alone anymore." I didn't need to think twice. I opened my laptop, clicked on the folder titled My Truth, and I uploaded it. Every video, every scream, every photo, all of it, to the cloud, to YouTube, to TikTok, to Reddit, to a Google Drive link that I sent to every trauma hotline and news blog I could find. I didn't hide my face. I didn't blur their voices. For the first time in my life, I spoke loud. My name is Elena. I'm 18. My family abused me. My brother broke my nose. My parents covered it up, and this is what they did when I begged for help. Within hours, it exploded. The video hit 50,000 views in a single night, then 100,000. By the end of the week, it had millions. The comments were flooded. "We believe you. You're so strong. I see you, Elena. You're not alone anymore. These people need to be arrested."
And guess what? CPS came back. This time with a real investigation. They took my little sister out of that house. Zane was suspended from college, then charged with assault. My mom tried to message me. "Take it down, please. You don't know what you're doing." My dad left a voicemail. "You ruined this family, Elena. You'll regret it." But I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel guilty. I felt powerful. For the first time in my life, they were the ones explaining themselves. They were the ones being watched. I was invited to speak at a local support group, then a podcast, then an interview. People started following me online, not for pity, but for courage. They said, "You gave me the strength to leave too. You helped me tell someone. Because of you, I'm alive." And you know what? That mattered more than any apology they could ever give me. Because now, I wasn't their victim. I wasn't their drama queen. I was a voice they couldn't silence. A mirror they couldn't look away from. I didn't burn the house down. I just lit the match and let the truth do the rest.